Hi, I'm Bob. In the previous video, we've drawn the total cost curve. In today's video, we will take a look at the average total cost and the marginal cost. The average total cost is the total cost divided by the quantity of output. The marginal cost is the increase in the total cost that arises from an extra unit of output. Let's calculate the average total cost and the marginal cost based on our example of the ice cream firm. Here's the cost table. I show the number of workers hired by the ice cream firm, the total output as labor increases by 1 unit, the total cost, the average total cost, and the marginal cost. We notice that the total cost increases at a constant rate. It rises by $100 as one more worker is employed. But the total output does not increase in a constant rate because the marginal product of labor is not fixed. As the firm employs one more worker, from 1 worker to 2 workers, the firm can produce 114 ice cream cones. The total cost is $700. So the average total cost is 700 divided by 114, which is $6.14 per ice cream cone. On the other hand, the change in the total cost is $100 from employing 1 worker to 2 workers, and the change in the output is 84 ice cream cones. So the marginal cost is 100 divided by 84, which is $1.19. We keep calculating the average total cost and the marginal cost this way, and then we make a scatter plot. We find that the average total cost decreases at first, and then increases. The lowest point of the average total cost is around $0.58 per ice cream cone when the firm hires 17 workers per day. The marginal cost and the average total cost are linked closely. The marginal cost curve goes through the average total cost curve at its lowest point. When the marginal cost curve is below the average total cost curve, the average total cost decreases. When the marginal cost curve is above the average total cost curve, the average total cost increases. The reason is that when the extra cost of the additional ice cream cone is lower than the average existing cost, the average cost will fall. But eventually, the marginal cost starts to increase and will intersect the average total cost curve. As the marginal cost continues to rise, it is higher than the average total cost. Now, because the extra cost of the last unit of output is higher than the current average, the average will increase. That's why the marginal cost curve intersects the average total cost curve at its lowest point. The relationship between the marginal cost curve and the average total cost curve is similar to the relationship between the marginal product of labor curve and the average product of labor curve. We can compare the marginal cost of output with the marginal product of labor to help us understand the shape of the curves. When we look at the marginal product curve, we see that marginal product increases initially for the lower level of labor, which corresponds to the lower levels of output on the marginal cost curve. In this region of the marginal product curve, one more worker employed is more productive than the previous workers, meaning that the new worker can produce more output than the existing labor. Since the cost of labor is the wage which we assume is constant, the additional cost associated with an additional unit of output will be decreasing. That is, the marginal cost is decreasing in this region. In other words, when the marginal cost of output decreases, the marginal product of labor increases. At some point, the marginal product of labor starts to decrease. That is because capital is fixed in the short run. When the firm hires more and more workers, the additional worker has to share the ice cream machines with the existing workers, work in a more crowded environment, and therefore become less productive. Each additional worker is less productive and produces fewer ice cream cones than previous labor. But each additional worker costs $100 in terms of wages. So when we look at the marginal cost curve, for each additional unit of ice cream cone, the cost increases. In other words, the downward sloping portion of the marginal product of labor curve corresponds to the upward sloping portion of the marginal cost of output curve. In our example, when the firm employs 10 workers producing 2010 ice cream cones, the marginal product reaches its highest point, and the marginal cost reaches its lowest value. The relationship between the marginal cost of output and the marginal product of labor in the short run can be seen using mathematics. The total cost is a function of labor in the short run because labor is the only variable in the short run. The output or the total product is also a function of labor. By definition, the marginal cost is the change in the total cost as the firm produces one more unit of output. We divide delta L from both the numerator and the denominator. The numerator becomes the marginal cost of labor, which is equal to the wage. The denominator is the marginal product of labor. Therefore, the marginal cost of output can be expressed as the wage divided by the marginal product of labor. The wage is a constant. The equation shows that the marginal cost of output moves in the opposite direction to that of the marginal product of labor. The marginal product of labor first rises and then falls, while the marginal cost of output first falls and then rises. Thank you for watching this video and subscribing to my YouTube channel. See you next time.